The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Let's go, baby.
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break.
with Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, November 24th, 2021, Season 17, Episode number 68. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Nick and Amber joining me. Dave will be joining us in a moment once he finishes with his walk-off with Coach McCarthy. Let's start first, Nick, with a 68.
Doug Free?
Doug Free.
I think.
Is he one of the most maligned players that really didn't deserve to be maligned in our time here?
There's more, but he's in that category for sure because he was a pretty solid player.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's one of those guys
People
that
hated him.
Yeah, they didn't like him. He was a pretty good player. Yeah. I think he's 68 now. I'm
Now
little,
you worried?
He may not
Chris,
be.
is he 68?
Crawford Kerr.
Yes, he was 68.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
I was man,
Our
struggling
trusty
a bit.
producer.
Crawford Kerr was my backup because,
I've never heard of him.
No?
Crawford Kerr? No.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Played
What is-
in the 80s. He guard, obviously, with tailback.
68, yeah.
Those are my only 68s that I got there.
Matt Lair. Remember him?
Yeah, I do remember Matt
Gosh.
Lair.
Guard center.
No, I was actually a fan of Doug Free on the field, and I know there were so many fans that just always had something to say about him and his false starts and whatever else he had going on. But I thought he was a solid player. Pretty good player for the Cowboys. All right, let's talk a little bit about
I Googled best player at number 68, and this article came up. Nobody better than Bigfoot at number 68. Defensive end Dennis Harrison.
who?
Some guy
Dennis
that
For the
I guess
Cowboys?
was for the Eagles.
Across the league.
Oh.
68. I got you.
Nobody popped up.
That also tells you something else. Like, if that's the
never heard
best
of-
68,
I never heard a lot of
that's
him
the best
either.
68 in the history of the league, then
Yeah.
yeah. And not to say he's not a good player. I don't keep up with
Yeah,
Eagles
this is
history,
a
but
Sports Illustrator article.
yeah, but I wouldn't. I definitely don't. The name doesn't ring out to me. Let's talk about the four players. There are four players the Cowboys have been missing here over the last game, and I wanted to talk about these four players from the standpoint of what the Cowboys miss in not having them. It does look like maybe Tyron Smith may be back this week, but let's first start with him and talk about what have the Cowboys missed not having him on the field the last 3.5 games.
Well, Dak Prescott can go back to pass and turn his back to that side and not feel like he's going to get hit. I mean, that's
Do you think that affects Dak in a way? Obviously, it affects everybody.
Yeah.
But do you think that's maybe some of the things that we've seen in 2 of the last 3 games where Dak just didn't seem to be himself?
probably. I mean, I would imagine. I mean, Tyron Smith is one of the best left tackles in I mean, that we've seen in decades. I mean, he's that good, and so there's got to be a comfort level when you know he's there and he's playing. You know, now he gets beat sometimes. I mean, he gets beat every once in a while, but for the most part, I mean, I think it just locks it down, and then everything else kind of trickles down. The left guard can be a little bit better, so it helps everybody around him, and you just don't have that when you have Terrence Steele or really anybody, even Nseki over there. So yeah, it's probably just more of a comfort thing. 1 and 2, just he's locking it down.
Amber.
I mean, yeah, of course you're going to miss a guy like Tyron Smith in the lineup, but at this point, I feel like I am at the point where I will never use that as an excuse anymore. Like, oh, they're missing Tyron. After so many years of this happening, you would think they got it down. And I know that they have Terrence Steele, and he did a good job, and now you got a shuffling going on with Lyle Collins back, and then what's happening with Connor McGovern there. But it's just, and I'm sure it's difficult. It's easier said than done, especially from me looking from the outside. But it just seems like you would think they got it figured out, that when something like this happens, it's not such a drastic change. But I mean, it always affects anyways. And last game we saw Dak running for his life continuously throughout
That's
the
funny
game.
to us. It wasn't funny to Dak, but that's funny to us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wasn't laughing in the game, watching the game, but it's just, I really thought they would play a lot better, but wasn't the case.
Yeah, I think that Tyron Smith being out, that's really affected this offense in a way that I didn't think it would as much. I thought Terrence Steele would be able to be adequate on the left side because I think he's been pretty good on the right. And I just don't think, after watching these games, I don't think he is. I think he is a right tackle. I don't think he is a swing tackle necessarily. I think he's a right tackle that might be able to give you some good quality starts, maybe be at a point where he can be a starter full-time for us or for any team at right tackle. I don't think he's a left tackle. Let's talk about Amari Cooper. What did the Cowboys miss by not having – go ahead.
I mean, this is going down the line a few games down, but let's say, okay, Tyron comes back this game. He's fine, whatever, but then towards the end of the year, something else happens where he comes back out. I mean, do you think they still go with Steele rather than, and we've talked about Lyle, kind of them flipping. I mean, is that so hard when you, and I get it, you're used to being, but is as a pro player, is that so hard switching sides?
I think it is.
Yeah,
I've
apparently.
never played it, but I would think it is.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it is, and I don't think Lyle Collins is wants to do that. Like, I think he's made it pretty clear he doesn't want to do that, and I don't think they feel like he can do it as well. It's a different type, it's a different drop. There's a little bit more athleticism you see on the left side. I think Terrence Steele is probably a better athlete, I would say, than Lyle, so it makes more sense there. And I think that the fact that they didn't move Lyle, there's a couple of reasons for that, and I think one of them is the fact that they just expect Tyron to be back when he has been. So it's 2 or 3. It's a short-term injury. I think Steele's the perfect swing tackle there, and you still have Inseki. They're not letting him go, so they've got some options. Their tackle situation is better than, I would say, a lot of teams in the league, just from the backups have at least 15, probably 17 to 20 starts among them. The 2 backup tackles, that's pretty good.
But I do think, I will say this, I think that I would at least give it some thought if you get into that kind of scenario where you lose Tyron for another couple games or so toward the end of the year. I would really consider Ty Inseki, as you were talking about, Nick. I just, and maybe here's the one thing that could be a caveat. Maybe during these next several weeks, if Tyron is healthy, maybe they find some opportunity to get Steele some work in practice at left tackle, so he continues to work there. Maybe in continuing to work there, if it comes up where he has to play later in the year, maybe he's better than he is now. The one thing I will say about him is there were times last year we thought he couldn't play, like literally couldn't play, and he figured it out on the right side. So maybe with more time on the left, maybe he can figure it out on the left. But right now, what we've seen, that's not good enough for playoff football, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys would be very handicapped if they had to go into a playoff game with Terrence Steele at left tackle, as he has played so far. Let's talk about Amari Cooper. What did they miss by not having Amari Cooper on this team the last week?
They missed
or did they miss him?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Well, I think the question is a fair question.
Just go back and watch the game.
It's a fair question if they missed him more than they missed Tyron Smith. I mean, it was they missed Tyron Smith big time. Amari Cooper, to me, was just as much missed, and he'll be missed in this game.
Just as much.
Just as much. Because he is an outstanding route runner. He gets open. He figures out a way. I think he's the most quarterback friendly receiver they've had in many years here. And even though his stats aren't always great, the fact that he knows exactly where he's going to be, he runs, like I said, runs these great routes, and it helps the other guys kind of do their thing. He was missed in that game. CD's a little bit more, I wouldn't say a freelancer, but he's more, just kind of more of a big play type guy, and maybe he doesn't have as much separation, but he'll go and make the play. Amari, this just the precision of him running routes, I think, really helps the quarterback, and they missed that in that game. They needed somebody to kind of calm down, 3rd and 6, get a first down, move the chains, keep it going, and just his demeanor is so good out there.
Yeah, and just his presence allows CD to be able to make those impressive catches that Nick was talking about. And the crazy thing about Amari Cooper, he's the type of player that, to me, sometimes he goes a little unnoticed. Like he's quiet, but he'll make plays. But then that's the greatest thing about him. He's like, all of a sudden you see him, oh wow, there's Amari, and sometimes you tend to forget about him. But clearly we saw it in this past game how important his presence, regardless of him being the targeted player. I think they would have played so. And I say this given like everybody played bad and there were drops and all that, but I think that having him on the field would have at least made them play a little bit better.
Yeah, I wonder, and I think we're going to get to see a little bit of that this weekend. It sounds like Tyron Smith will play this weekend. If he plays, we'll get to see, because I really think Tyron was really the big part of why they couldn't do what they wanted to do, more so than Amari. That doesn't, and don't get me wrong, I think Amari is a valuable asset for this team. But I do think losing him for a game, your offense still should be able to put up big points. I think the problem was they lost him, and they also didn't have that left tackle, and that I think was
and then you can go and then they started to change. They started to blitz even more in the second half. I mean, they trusted their corners that they weren't going to get beat by Gallup, Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, and those guys aren't going to just continually beat the secondary. And so it worked out perfectly for the Chiefs because they were able to just keep putting the pressure on a line that couldn't handle it, and they didn't have to worry about really getting beat over the top or really anywhere.
How much have they missed, or what did they miss by not having Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence for as long as they've been out at this point?
Well, you're just missing badass pass rushers. I mean, that's just what it is. And Micah's been helping some, but Mike, I mean, you can't have enough. I mean, like Micah can do his thing from wherever, and Randy on this side, and you just can't block them all. And then that's what they've missed. And then I still think that Michael will go back to being a linebacker at some point, but still he's going to.
Did you hear his comment yesterday?
Huh?
Did you hear his comment yesterday? He said, "Yeah, they can have back all those chips." I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, like
no pass rusher likes to get chipped.
No,
he's finding that out.
He let him be a roaming linebacker, a blitzer, rusher, all that. That's where I think he's going to be the most effective, and I think that's where it sets up well for this roster. But anytime you're missing a good pass rusher like Gregory. D-Law's a great pass rusher. He's also a great run stopper as well. They're just missing their best defensive ends. I mean, that no team is going to lose their both ends and be good. The Cowboys have been fortunate there, but also, I mean, they're missing some in the linebacker. Keanu Neal and Leighton Vander Esch aren't the greatest inside linebackers right now.
And that's the interesting part. This defense has actually played pretty well without the two of their best defensive players, and that's, I think, the most amazing part about it.
Yeah, I thought they were not going to be able to play the way they did without those two guys, especially without Randy Gregory. But I think that if the offense continues to play, like, let's say they go in this week and play kind of similar to what happened last week, I think, that's where maybe you do miss that kind of pressure there to create maybe more turnovers, to give the ball back to the offense, to allow them to create whatever they can on the field. But yes, definitely miss those guys, but definitely impressed on what they have been able to handle without them so far.
Joined by David Hellman. Dave, I'm going to throw this question to you. We're talking about the 4 players that the Cowboys didn't have last week. They're star players. Which of those 4 players, I'm talking about Tyron Smith, Amari Cooper, Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, do you think they missed the most?
In that specific game, if I could go back and play it again with just one of those guys, I would want Amari Cooper. I know the offensive line didn't hold up very well, but I think a big part of that was, again, we talked about it earlier in the week, like they couldn't separate downfield. I don't think there were things open for Dak. I think not having Amari allows the defense to key on CD. Then you lose CD, and now nobody's afraid of anybody. No disrespect to Michael Gallup, but I think they're willing to just man him up. You don't have to worry about diverting extra attention to him. I think Amari Cooper does a lot for this offense, even if he's not being targeted. You can see that on tape if you watch. Teams focus on him. They know that he can hurt them. So I think he could have changed the trajectory of that game for sure.
Most important?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think that they're 50-50, but I think that Steele, can hand. I mean, he struggles, but he's still like, I don't think it's as much of a drop off as, especially because of what happened, just losing CD and Amari. That's just, like I said, he's just a quarterback friendly guy. Bill Belichick told you 6 weeks ago when they played that game. I mean, he went and he tried to take him out of the game. So they understand just how important he is, and he's just a chains mover, and he takes the pressure off some of the other guys.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Bucky Brooks of NFL Network. We're going to talk a little bit of Vegas defense versus Cowboys offense. We'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to the break.
All right. This holiday season, you can visit the Star. Okay, here we go. You can visit the Star to get your photo with Santa, presented by Monument Realty. Santa Claus will be at his Cowboys-themed cottage at the Star District across from Ascension at the Star Boulevard, November 26th through December 24th. Visit stardistrict.com/Santa.
What happened to Dave reading these?
I don't know. Good question, boss.
I don't get them sent to me, so
well, we can change that easily.
I thought Nick had just he was washing his hands of this whole thing.
I think Nick does a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, Dave was amazing though too.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
If you make me do it, I'll just get more and more facetious with every read. I'm just like,
it might be pretty fun. It might be pretty fun.
Is it Santa? I just think it's the end. So I'm going to start doing a terrible job
and then see what happens.
No.
All right. Welcome to the show. We're in the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We got Bucky Brooks of NFL Network joining us. Bucky, it is the day before Thanksgiving. We got Thanksgiving football tomorrow. Cowboys will take on the Raiders. And so let's start with their defense and give me an idea of what this defense can do when they're on, and tell me what can get them flustered too.
Look, man, this is a defense that's really static. They don't do a lot. They just kind of line up and play. It's akin to just kind of driving by the neighborhood, seeing a bunch of iron deer on the lawn. They don't do much of anything to try and trick you or
that's pretty funny.
Or fool you. And so what they want to do is they want to make it real simplistic for the team to allow their players to play fast. They have some good players, particularly in the front line. You think about Yannick Ngakoue is back to playing at a high level because he reunited with Gus Bradley. Max Crosby is an energizer bunny at the front line. Denzel Perryman is a tackle-to-tackle playmaker on the inside. And then they have a cornerback, Brandon Faison, who's actually playing really, really well for them. So it's a solid maybe defense, but they're not going to do a lot. And so it's about execution. It's not about trickery for them.
Well, you wrote in your $5 article that they've got a blueprint they can go off of now. So you say that the blueprint to beat the Cowboys is now out. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I mean, look, the blueprint has been out. Like, I mean, people going to line up and they're going to play with 4-man rush. They can play 7 in coverage, and they can play man-to-man. And what they're going to do is they're going to dare the Cowboys to be able to win on the outside. And the way that people are playing man-to-man, they're playing what they call man-match, which is basically man-to-man on vertical routes, but it kind of goes into a switching zone.
Did we lose him? I think
we don't have Amari Cooper.
You there, Bucky?
Hello?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I can hear you. And I was
Okay.
talking, I can hear you.
Yeah, we lost you. We lost you right after you were
So
saying
we
that.
don't
You were
have-
talking about mixed match man. So go ahead.
Yeah, so when you have man match, what they do is they're able to take away the stuff on the outside while also handling all the crossing routes and the things that happen inside. And when you don't have guys that can separate, like when Amari Cooper's on the sideline and you only have CeeDee Lamb, it just makes it easy for the defense. And what we also saw is they were able to line up and get one-on-one matchups on particular offensive linemen to be able to defeat him. And without Tyron Smith, there is some vulnerability on that offensive line. So, yeah, the blueprint is out. Now, do you have the personnel to be able to deal with it? That's another thing. But the blueprint is definitely out on how to best play the Cowboys.
The Raiders employ a young man that a lot of people wanted to see in Dallas by the name of Trevon Merrick, the safety out of TCU. How's he playing this year, Buck?
I mean, he's fine. I mean, he's been solid for them. But, you know, they haven't been in those favorable situations where they can really allow the safety to be an impact player, meaning you have to be up so you can force the quarterback to throw against loaded coverage, then allow Merrick to be able to do his thing. He's a really solid player. I liked him a lot as a prospect. Has he been a difference maker for them yet? No, he hasn't. He's a solid player in the back end, one of their better players, though.
If you're the Cowboys after the way that they lost against the Chiefs and in a short week like this one, what would be your main focus in improving the offense for this game?
Back to basics. I would say less is more. Doing fewer plays, fewer concepts, fewer things where the guys have to think, and placing a greater emphasis on just being great when it comes to the execution part. That's what I would focus on. I don't think this needs to be kind of a trick 'em game. I think they need to line up and make sure they remember who they are. They're at their best when they're a balanced team. Whenever it gets way out of whack and Dak is throwing 2 times more than they're running, it's a problem. They need to make sure that they remember to run the football. I'm not saying that you have to run on first and second down, but you got to make sure that you have enough rushing attempts to make the defense defend all aspects of the offense before you kind of become this pass-happy team.
Hey, Bucky, when you were just talking about the blueprint that's out there on how you defeat this Cowboys offense, I was looking at some of the stats around Vegas, and as you said, they don't do much. They are actually they blitz the least in the NFL, but at the same time, they're 5th in quarterback knockdowns. So they get after the quarterback. They're right out of the top 10 in sacks. So my question for you is, knowing that they try to get pressure with the front four and do a pretty good job of doing that, how does Dallas try to defeat that? We haven't seen them be successful against those 2 teams in the AFC West who have done similar things. How does Dallas beat that?
You got to be able to run the football and put it in manageable situations. One of the reasons that the other teams have been able to have success against the Cowboys is because they were able to kind of dictate the turns, because it was a little more of a one-dimensional approach that the Cowboys took. When you run the ball on mix down, so it's not always 1st and 10 run. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it may be 2nd and 7, run the ball. You have to prevent the defensive coordinator from being in what we call an always and never situation, meaning, hey, it's this situation, they always do this, they never do that, because then it plays to their favor. And so it needs to be balanced, it needs to be diverse, and he needs to get out of his normal play calling pattern to keep them from teeing off on the passing game. And when you run the ball at the pass rushers, it takes a little steam off of those pass rushers. So you got to be able to run the football and run it at them early and often.
Buggy, this goes back to what you said at the top about them being kind of static. I think it's interesting. Like, Gus Bradley was the DC in Seattle before Dan Quinn, and both of these guys kind of got that cover 3 reputation. But we're seeing way more than that from Quinn. But I mean, from the sounds of it, I mean, is Gus Bradley just sticking with what worked 8 years ago? I mean, is it that easy? And if so, why do you think they're not a little bit more adaptable than they are right now?
Well, I think two things. I think one, Dan Quinn was the head coach in Atlanta, and the last few years when he took over as D coordinator, he got his back beat out. And what he did is he took that year off to go and reinvent himself and decided that he needed more diversity in his game in terms of how he called plays, what they utilize, the coverages, and those things. Gus Bradley has added more to the repertoire because he felt like, in talking to him, he felt like Pete Carroll always wanted them to be in cover 3 because they always wanted the middle of the field closed. Gus Bradley has spent time with Monty Kiffin, and he believed that cover 2 would help them at times. So you'll see some split safety looks and those things, but whatever it is, they're not really disguising it. They're going to line up and show it because they want their guys to know exactly what they're in so they're confident they can execute it.
Sounds like Cowboys football for the last.
It sounds a lot like what we watched for the last few years. Yeah.
Amber, you got something?
I guess if they win the coin toss, what do? You go out and try to make a statement, or you defer?
You know, it's funny because normally I'm always like, no, we'll defer to the second half. But if you're a team that's really looking to juice up the game and kind of put the Raiders on the heels, you take the ball, you mix up the tempo, and you want to make sure that you play from in front. The Raiders' best opportunity to win the game is if they are playing with the lead so they can dictate the terms. Their best defense is their offense. So when Derek Carr gets out and gets into a groove, they get to going. That's how they play well. So if you can put the Raiders in a hole early, it disrupts everything that they want to do. And because they don't have what I call a playmaking defense, that's the best way to attack them. Go at them early and kind of hit the ground running. So, yeah, take the ball. Go after it.
All right. Give me a prediction for this week. What do you think is going to happen Thanksgiving Day?
Look, man, I think this is a very important game for the Dallas Cowboys, not only because you came off a loss against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Philadelphia Eagles are beginning to kind of find their way. And what you don't want to do is kind of let them close the gap so the games can have meaning down the stretch. So they won't talk about it, but I'm sure the coaching staff is well aware that the Eagles are gaining ground and beginning to find their way. So I think this is one where you simplify it, you encourage your guys to play fast, and I think ultimately they win on Turkey Day. I would expect them to be able to dominate the Raiders, even though it may be a little early and tight, maybe tight early. I think they'll run away with it in the end.
All right. We appreciate you joining us, Bucky. You have a happy Thanksgiving. We're going to take our final break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk storylines. There's some storylines this game we want to hit and let you guys know what we think is going to happen. Tomorrow, Cowboys versus Raiders. We'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at Stetson.com/Cowboys.
Back to the break.
Go, Nick.
Rowdy's holiday deliveries are now available, Derek. You can spread joy this holiday season with surprises and exclusive gifts from your favorite mascot. Book your holiday delivery today at DallasCowboys.com/Rowdy.
There we go. Merry Christmas. Welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Cowboys will take on the Raiders. Will be, I would assume, a pretty decent amount of black and silver in the building as well. So should be a fun game. Should be an entertaining game. I'm hopeful. We got some storylines that we're going
to... I would like an unentertaining game in the other
You want to
direction.
be riding in the third quarter?
Yeah, I want
Really?
that. Like, yeah, you're the one that's always saying that, and I'm like, just shut up and let the game happen. I want that. I would like to...
Okay. Look, I wouldn't be against that.
I don't want to be
all good with
stressed
that
out
too,
tomorrow.
but it would be good to have a fun game. Just make it fun, at least for a little while.
Beatdowns are fun.
Sometimes.
Oh, all the time. If the team that you
If it's
have
your
to
team.
cover is the one doing it, yeah.
All right, so let's go storylines. We got a few that we need to hit for this game. Here's the first. If CD can't go tomorrow, which it sounds like he might be able to, they're feeling like it might be a good chance.
I wanna kind of shed some clarity on what's going on with that, because I'm not trying to be condescending. I didn't know some of this stuff either, but we've had a chance to ask around, and people get nervous when you're talking about a guy coming back from a concussion in 4 days, and understandably so. So what's going to happen today is, as part of the concussion protocol, you have to practice. Like, you have to prove that you can go out on the field and do all of that. This is after he's cleared all the tests, all the cognitive tests from the time he got hurt at the stadium on Sunday through now. He has to practice. He's going to talk to the Cowboys medical staff, and then he has to clear another test with an independent neuro expert, whatever, doctor, whatever that is, which he had to do that. They still have the independent doctors on the sideline on Sunday as well. So that was part of it. Like, this is probably, maybe not 5 years ago, but like in recent history, this is probably the type of concussion that he would have played through before the NFL.
Continue to play in that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before the NFL put all of this stuff into place, it was that type of deal. So today's big. He's going to practice, then he's going to have 2 more consultations or whatever. And if he clears all of that, he can play. But I do think it's worth noting, like, he has to get clearance from an independent person that's not affiliated with the Cowboys. It's not like their staff can be like, get out there, buddy. We need you. So that's what's going to happen today.
And that's by the end of the day, they will know.
I don't know if it's going to be out in the public today, but
they will know.
They should know by this evening whether or not he's going to be available tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that being said, let's assume for a second he doesn't pass that protocol. If CD can't go, do you expect Michael Gallup can handle the number 1 wide receiver role for this team?
No, I do not expect that. I've seen it twice now. I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. Sorry for his agent, because I know he's a free agent coming out, and he needs to be able to prove that. I don't think he's a number 1. And I think he's much better as a number 2, if not a 3. But he's a 2. I mean, he's a 2. Just in this team, he's probably a 3. But, I think he can get paid like a number 2. I don't think he's a number 1. I don't think he's the type of guy that does everything as far as, all the things you want from a receiver, to the inside stuff, the outside. He's going to have to, though. I mean, he's going to have to in this game. But, I don't think this is something you can get by and maybe win a game doing it. But I don't think he's a number 1 receiver.
I don't think so either. And to be fair to him, I don't think that he ever was. Like, I wasn't going into this season thinking Michael Gallup was going to play a season that would enable him to get paid like that. Like when you consider that Devontae Adams is going to be available this spring, he was never getting a deal.
Yeah, but let's be clear. I'm not saying, and I'm not.
No, I know.
That. Yeah, the point is, good number 2s can sometimes step into a number 1 role when pressed into duty. I'm asking, do you think he can do that for a
I don't think that's the biggest question, though. Honestly,
I'm a lot less worried about Mike.
Yeah, I don't
about
think if the number 5 and number 4 can step into the other roles, then I think Gallup can shine. It's not about Gallup so much. It's just about Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson have got to come to play. If they can come to play, then I think Gallup can do his thing. But if they're not going to help, Gallup, I don't think has a chance.
What he said. That's absolutely. I mean, it's not that Mike can't handle that, and I would guess they're going to focus on him if CD's unavailable because he'll be the best receiver on the field. It's on the other guys to not do what they did Sunday. Michael Gallup, he didn't play a great game, but he did what he could do with the opportunities that were given to him. Like he was saving their ass time after time in the early going of the game. He picked up both of their first 2 first downs, and it's not his fault Dak overthrew him really probably twice.
True.
So I got nothing bad to say about Mike. It's the guys around him that need to step up if he's the one that the defense is focusing on.
Yeah. Amber, would you go ahead?
We've seen Dak have success with those other guys around him, but the thing is, who do they really scare, with the opponent? And you come in as a defensive coordinator and you look at these receivers and it's like, oh, well, I don't know, that doesn't sound scary. We can definitely beat them. But this is one of those scenarios where you go back and you become appreciative in the way that Dak has handled his receiver corps and, off season, practicing with them, even the last string guys. So hopefully this is a game that those guys, like you guys mentioned, they can step up. We know he has a very good relationship with Dak, and we've seen it translate on the field. So they just need to clean their game up.
And I would throw in a Malik Turner in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably is, as a receiver, it might be a little bit further along than like a Noah Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I like his game. I know we saw it there at the end, garbage time, and he's kind of he's turned into sort of the garbage man a little bit at the end of the game. But
I'm with you, and in my head I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm ready to see more Malik Turner. Like Noah Brown deeply disappointed me as a longtime Noah Brown stan.
Yeah.
He deeply disappointed me on Sunday, but I do think there's something to the fact that Malik Turner's doing a lot of this. A lot of what he's done this year is when the game's been decided one way or the other.
I think we should also take a little bit of a step back and say what we saw Sunday from this receiver core is not what we've seen most of the year. And I'm talking about Zed. I'm talking about Noah Brown. They've been pretty reliable in the roles that they've been given. And so my thought is settle in. And I think they can have better weeks this week than they did last week. I'm not ready to throw them out yet. I think that was just a bad game. It was a bad game all the way around. They just didn't play well.
The only thing is, we haven't seen it be fully on them 100%. You know, if you have your other receivers, they've been guys that kind of go in and out in certain plays, and they have been successful at times. But I wonder, how much it really affects them when they're out there 100%.
Yeah, and that's. It's easy to say next man up, but those guys are fourth and fifth on the depth chart for a reason.
But all that being said, I think the sentiment right now is that we expect CD to play in the game.
Yeah.
Are we done expecting players to play?
I was about to say,
we did it last week.
I've been doing it all year.
We've been talking about it. It's hard to know. It's hard to get a read with this team.
Yeah, he's got to, like you say, he's got to pass these.
Got to talk about both scenarios.
I know. No, I agree, and that could happen. And let's not, knock on wood, but he could play and not finish the game. You know what I mean? Anybody, that could happen with anything. Mm-hmm. He could play and it just, he ends up maybe taking a hit or whatever, and they're like, okay, you know what? Let's don't do this. Mm-hmm. So you have to be ready for that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
What I do think we finally know is that Tyron Smith is going to play.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong about that again, I might just jump out of the press box. The reason I bring that up is this is a game where if that is the case, if CD can't go, and I'm not ready to say I expect him to play because that's, first of all, it's not a fight through it issue. He has to clear
their protocols.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's burned me basically every other week this season where I'm like, I think he's going to play. And then I'm writing I'm writing the story tomorrow afternoon. CeeDee Lamb will be inactive today.
But if I'm just saying, they are taking all the steps to do that. He wouldn't have been in a meeting on Monday. He wouldn't have been on the field yesterday, at the end. He wouldn't have been doing the things if he was having any issues.
Unless there was some kind of setback. That's all that at this point
and there could have been. But all I know is, and I talked to Jim Maurer. I talked to Jim Maurer after this game Sunday, and he said, we really like where he is right now. And this is after the game. We like where he is. It was almost like it was borderline of him having to sit out.
Yeah.
He's like, we like where he is. William said he was fine.
He did.
So
that's his William
Boykins, for those of you that know, he works with us. Don't worry about it.
His evaluation,
hot boy,
to hear it from people who
that
would
might
know.
worry you then. If William said it, you might think.
That's a good point.
This is not good.
William, if you're listening.
He's listening.
William's 50-50. He's 50-50. What was I going to say? Oh, to hear it from people who would know, his evaluation was good. For a guy who just got concussed, it was good. That's why I said 8-10 years ago, he probably goes back in that game, and that's a testament to how much people have changed their minds about the way that stuff works that they still wouldn't. The protocols wouldn't allow him to go back in.
And there's a couple of like little benchmarks that happen after a guy gets hit in the head or whatever that will keep you out of the game, and it's very not minor. It's just it's basically, do you feel a little dizzy or are you a little bit woozy? Yeah, I feel a little. You're out.
You're out. Yeah,
you're
like
out.
that.
I mean, it's not,
which is the way it should be.
Right.
That's the way it should be. Right.
So it's not. I mean, God, I remember a game. Might have been before you were here when the Cowboys were playing the Bears, and Witten. So that happened with Witten, and they were hiding his helmet, and
rightfully so.
Most people know Jason Witten as the guy that's in the community, a nice guy, great interviews and all that. He can be a monster at times, and man, I think he was trying to like really hurt some doctors or something. It might have been the independent doctor or something. I remember something. They were just like, "Where's my helmet? Where's Betsy?" Like he was trying to find this helmet. I think he ended up getting back in.
Yay.
Yay, Witten.
Those are the stories that like they sound great, and then you're just like,
right.
Yeah. Great.
Oh man, I'm not gonna say the name, but there was a player a few years ago that was playing at safety, and the teammates were like, he didn't know the last drive of the game. He didn't know anything that was happening. They were telling him where to line up and where to stand, and he just, as they were driving, other team was driving for the win, and he's back there not even know. I mean, they won the game. They won the game, and he didn't give up a touchdown. But like the last 5 or 6 plays, they were just like, you stand here and just do that.
God.
Oh, it's
imagine somebody in the league office hearing that, and it's like,
It was in the last 60 years. So
there we go.
Go
Figure
find
it out. There's
you
a
can
lot
find
of games, a lot of plays.
The
All right, real quick.
Go
ahead.
Just the reason I brought up Tyron Smith is if CD can't play, I would hope that his presence allows you to completely change the way that you play this game. Like I'm taking the air out of the ball. I got no problem living in 12 personnel and trying to run for 200 yards tomorrow if CD can't go.
And that's exactly where I was going to go with this because Dallas has not rushed particularly well in 3 of their last 4 games. Tyron's missed the last 3.5 games of that. He's now back. How much do you think that's going to help the running game? Do you think they can get back on track with having Tyron back in the lineup?
Yeah, adding an all-pro to your lineup definitely helps. I mean, it stabilizes things. It allows you to help the left guard, whoever that is. He can seal off the backside. The Cowboys love to run to the right? Like you're going to run off of Zach whenever you can. But Tyron allows you to seal the backside of those plays so you're not getting dragged down from behind for 1 or 2 yards instead of 5 or 6.
But let me be clear. The question is not can they run better with him. The question is more just do you think it's at a point now where they can go in and say, that we want to run. We're going to run, and they're still going to be able to impose their will and run.
I don't think they're going to do that, though. I mean, I don't think they're going to just, we're going to run. I think just Tyron helps them run the offense. I think they can pass out of it. They can run. They're going to be mixed. They're not going to – Dak Prescott's not going to be running the football, taking the air out. I mean, I know it sounds good. I don't think they're going to do that.
But we're talking about that in the context of you don't have your top 2 receivers.
I don't think they're going to do that.
You think they're still going in and they're trying to be just as aggressive in the passing game.
He's right. I mean, and I said take the air out of the ball by modern NFL standards.
Right, yeah.
This isn't college. Like you can't go in and telegraph that you're going to run and just do it anyway. You could do that against the worst run defense in the league and probably still not be successful. So yeah, there's got to be an element of passing and misdirection and all that stuff. I'm saying, and read the tea leaves too. It's obvious the Cowboys are disappointed that they got away from the run. Like Mike McCarthy really hasn't made any bones about it. I just think they won't have a problem leaning on that and trying to let that dictate their game plan more so than they have in recent weeks.
I'm going with 3 trick plays in the game by the Cowboys. 3, and I'm counting like that play that Pollard had. That was kind of like a trick play, sort of that reverse fake and all that. I think you got to set something up with that too. Maybe pitch it back to Dak and let him throw or something. But I think 2 or 3 of those. They won't run the flea flicker until I'm not here anymore. But it won't be that. Yeah, I just mean like they'll never do that. Oh. Well, I work for the Cowboys. I'm never going to see a flea flicker for the Cowboys. I don't know why.
I'm sorry.
I am too.
I don't know.
That's about all you can say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
I have a question for y'all, though.
What if they do it and it doesn't work? Will you be happy that they tried, or just like, really, I waited 22 years and I got an incompletion to Cedric Wilson?
Maybe. I want to see what happens the next time Zeke runs the ball.
Okay.
If Zeke comes back and runs like 9 yards up the middle because the safety's kind of like, well, is he? Then it does. That's why I think it does a lot of things if you try it. Whatever. I have
Better
a
question is, are you going to get kicked out of the press box whenever they do it?
Yes.
That will be the better question.
Yes.
Maybe. Well, I mean,
hopefully it's at home, not on the road.
Well, if Tyron doesn't play, I mean, Dave's already jumped himself out of the press box. And so,
I mean, the windows in the press box don't open anyway, so I can't do that. But I'll want to.
Just jump into the window and see, right?
I have a big picture question.
See how that goes?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Since I'm the host. No, just kidding. Is this a must-win game for the Cowboys?
No.
No such thing as a must-win game.
Until it's a must-win
game. Until mathematics get involved, like you're eliminated from something if you don't win.
Okay.
Yes, I'll go against y'all. It is.
I think it's a must-win game. You don't win this game, I don't know if they win the East. I'm serious.
Well, but then it's not a must-win. Then we kind of want it.
Why?
Really need it.
Why do you feel that way?
Because then they don't win this game, then they got 3 road games in a row. I think they'll go 1-2 in that stretch, and then I think it'll just be a dogfight for the rest of the just down the stretch. I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about this.
I mentioned this to you the other day. I don't know if you guys have looked at what the Eagles' schedule looks like down the
terrible.
stretch. They got 2 games against the Cowboys. They got 2 games against the Giants. They got 2 games against Washington, and they got a game against the Jets. Now, obviously, division games are division games. That's always in the Cowboys. Division games are very hard, no matter how good or bad the teams are. But you just look at the records of those teams. Those are some of the worst teams in the NFL record-wise that they have, and that's all they got left except for that last game against Dallas.
Not only, but also you got to remember, I don't like what the league did this year, where like everybody is waiting until Christmas to start their division schedule.
Yeah, division. It's going to be all division games pretty much in December.
It's
for a lot of teams.
It's kind of boring. Like
I don't think so.
Not in that. Like it's going to create exciting games because you're going to be able to separate and stuff. But like I think Kansas City's going they're going like Denver Chargers, Denver. Like everybody's doing that.
Everybody's doing these back to back.
I want to see some variation. I want to see some different teams on the field.
I agree, but I think what it does is that if somebody has an injury for 6 to 8 weeks and they're struggling, they're down. Let's say like Washington, for instance, like they could be like, well, we're down right now, but we still got the Cowboys twice. Like we could get back up into this thing just because you got a lot of division games at the end.
And division games are hard no matter how good or bad teams are. So that's going to create a lot of upsets and situations where you have one team favored and it just kind of goes a different way.
Sure.
I think it's going to make for an exciting December just because of that.
And the flip side, like everybody's focused on Philly right now, and rightfully so. They're playing Washington twice in a span of 3 weeks. So like there's going to be some cannibalization there.
You would think so, yeah.
Because both of those teams are kind of hanging around in the
Washington's
periphery.
1 game behind. I think they're one game behind them. 1 or maybe 2.
To play devil's advocate to Nick's point, you lose this game, again, AFC opponent, it's the least damaging type of loss. You play a Saints team that, I mean, it's going to be tough, but missing a lot of guys, don't have a true starting quarterback.
Their offense is struggling bad.
And then they're going to have sort of a bye week. Like they're going to get like 3 or 4 days off in a row. They're going to start getting guys back, by the way. Lawrence, Gregory, all that type of stuff.
You're going to lose guys too.
Sure, you probably
no, you will.
No, you will.
But you'll lose a key player.
Still getting good players back, and then you have the whole division in front of you in December. I mean, sure.
And you're already up 2 games in the division. That's a great thing.
After the way the season started, would it be disappointing to take care of business in the division and finish with the 4 seed? Sure. Is that still good? Yes. And so, like, they could lose this game and still have everything out in front of them.
Of course,
still
they
is
have
an
everything.
AFC team. Yeah,
I get it. It's not mathematically a must-win game, but mentally, it's a better win game. You better win this game.
I do agree with that.
Better win this game. If there's anything you really want to do, you want to be a team that's like, oh well, that was not us, and we need this and all that. No, you're getting Tyron back. Dak, show us that you're better than what you did the last.
We're gonna start using that
games.
term. It's a better win game. You better
win.
Yeah, it's a better win game.
Need to
Not
win.
necessarily a must win, but it's a better win game.
Got it.
Well, it also makes me think, I forgot who said it. I think it was in one of those mixed shows that we did. I don't remember, but someone was talking about the energy and how contagious it is. And when you are winning and performing the way that they have been in the stretch that they did, you always have, like, even those players that are not so great, they perform better because they're pushing themselves. They want to be a part of the wins. They want to give their all. They care about it. So it makes me think, okay, how, if they lose this game, how would that change and affect just like energy-wise, performance-wise, what happens on the field? I'm not saying they're not going to keep going out there and competing and going at it the same way, but it makes me wonder if it does change just kind of the mood and what you end up giving on that field afterwards.
All right, let's get to predictions. What's going to happen this Sunday? I'll start with you, Dave.
Nice.
Yeah,
Spit
3
it
days
out.
to think about it.
No, stop. This is gonna be a weird game. It's gonna be a slow game, just in terms of you're not operating with a full deck on offense. You just got to get right. I think, again, utilize the running game as much as you can. I don't think it's gonna be like this big flashy performance, but this Raiders team kind of feels like they're. Weird thing to say about a team that's won as many games as they have, but there's like some circling the drain potential there. So I say it's not going to look like super pretty, but like 25-16, get out of there with a win.
All right, Amber?
Part of me doesn't want to pick them because I'm mad at them, but
there we go. Do it.
Obviously,
call them out.
I'm mad at them.
Call them out.
I'll give them another week. No, but I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. Big game, Thanksgiving Day. They're gonna go out there, win. I don't think they'll be completely dominant like they were in the last home game, but they'll leave with a win. I'd probably say like 20-14, something not that high scoring.
Okay.
Yeah, I got weird stuff happening, but I do think the Cowboys will kind of turn it around, and I think they win 31-22.
All right. And I also think the Cowboys will win. I think it's going to be one of those games you said, Dave. Not that they're going to just blow them out, but I think that the final score is going to be one that, probably like a 27-16 kind of game where it's just kind of like they're just kind of playing around. It'll get going. This. Cowboys will get a lead, and then
I don't like this
they'll just kind of coast to the finish line.
I'm going to be thinking about this moment in the third quarter when we all want to jump out of the press box.
This is one of those situations where I just think they're better, and I think last week we would have seen a different outcome if you give me either one, Amari or Tyron. If you give me Tyron this week, and let's assume CD's back, I feel like they're the better team. I feel like they'll get a win, and I don't think it'll be just a close game through the end. I think the Cowboys are the better team. I think the Cowboys win.
Okay.
All right. We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on Monday. We'll let you know what went right and wrong. There will be no shows on Friday, but we will be back on Monday, and we'll talk about the game then. Until then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!